Hello, Flosstube. It's Jerry Caudill, the Yankee Creek Stitcher, and I'm back from my last Flosstube, number 45, that I just finished recording a little bit ago, but I wanted to do a separate video as my WIP Parade. I love doing WIP Parades just so I can record what all I had at the beginning of the year to see my progress throughout. So the funny thing is, as I was getting my WIPs in order to share with you, I found two more that I hadn't entered into my Excel sheet. I have an Excel sheet of the chart and the date I started and the date I finish it. And two of them I hadn't entered in there. So my stats is at the beginning of 2021, I had 52 WIPs. And over the past 12 months, of those 52, I either finished or UFO'd 19 of those projects. And in 2021, the past 12 months, I had 22 starts. And of those 22 starts, I either finished or UFO'd 11 of those. So that gives me a net of 44 WIPs that I'm taking into 2022. So I went from 52 at the beginning of 21 down to 44 at the end of 2021, which isn't too bad. Initially, I thought it was 42. I thought I had, got rid of 10 of them, but I found two more that I hadn't added to my log. So 44 WIPs that we're going to go through, and I'm going to show you the projects that I decided to UFO over the past 12 months. Okay, so we'll start with, and some of them may be a surprise to you and some of them may not, but my first unfinished object that I'm not going to be stitching, Splendor of Autumn. This was from I think Just Cross Stitch. Yes, it was from Just Cross Stitch magazine. It's a beautiful chart. Sorry, this is a black and white print, but I think this is a white pumpkin, and I think this was a blue pumpkin. It may be orange. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. Maybe if I started it on a different fabric that I liked, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it anymore. It's a little more. I've already restarted it once, and that's how far I got. It just wasn't calling to me, just wasn't in the mood for it. So I'm calling it unfinished, and it's not going to be considered a active project for me. The next one is, and I know I was wishy-washy in my last WIP Parade. It is Country Cottage Needleworks. Bless Our Home. I think the first thing was I didn't like the fabric that I started this on, and I believe it's looks like an even weave. Just not crazy about it. So yeah, not sure what I'll do with that. It doesn't look bad. I could just make it into a pillow just like that. Like nothing more, just like that. I mean, it's a lot of stitching to just, I can't just throw that in the garbage, so. Next up, I have by Needle Treasures. It's Home for Christmas. I love this chart, and I will probably restitch this, restart it and restitch it. The colors, I think, yeah, it had a color organizer, but I'm thinking I had to put it in there myself. I don't know. Somehow, some way, the colors I'm using is not, see, this gray is too dark. It's way too dark. It shouldn't be that dark as it's fading down to the ground. So, see, it's much lighter. So not happy with that. It's on an even weave as well. I may restart it on something else. I don't know. It uses blends. It's not like I could, well, I guess I could easily convert the floss, but it's not something I want to spend the time on right now. I'm not worried about keeping it as an active WIP. I may eventually restart it one day. Until that day comes, it will just be to the side. Next one is Quaker Bluebird Sampler. This is a gorgeous chart. And I know a few of these I went back and forth on in my last WIP Parade, just like the other ones. This is how far I am. And I believe I had already restarted this. I don't know. I was thinking I restarted it. I don't know, it just wasn't calling to me. Just kind of over it. So that's official UFO. Next up is Heartstring Sampleries, Rooster, and Acorns. This is the one I've started on cinnamon. I think it was like a 32 count or 30 count. Oh, sorry. The fabric is cyprium, 28 count cyprium. The floss I was using is cinnamon. Most of you know I don't like stitching 2/2. And on this 30 count fabric, I started stitching this 2/2. And I wasn't happy with it. It's too thick for me to stitch with. So I had said, well, I'll just flip it over and start doing 1/2 up here. And actually, I think I was doing 1/1. I did have a few stitches in there. So I did 1/1 as a test. This wasn't crazy about it. And I don't know, just after looking at the chart, it's kind of like, But then I look at it now, I really like it. I love roosters and I love acorns. It's kind of like, duh. So I don't know. I'm calling it an official UFO for right now. If I feel the need to go back to it one day, so be it. Next up, this may be a surprise, is Little House Needleworks, early Americans. I had started these. It's all, I think, 9 charts. I started these. I started it originally on April 22nd of 2019. I then restarted it on April 22nd of 2020. And I think about in May of 21, I decided, yeah, not feeling it. Not feeling it. And actually had restarted because I had started doing the border up here. Then decided I'm not really crazy about that border. So we'll just stitch the charts. And after stitching it, I'm kind of like, I'm not feeling it. I have so much other stuff I want to stitch, and I don't know, it just really doesn't appeal to me right now. I'm not sure that it will. So it's a UFO for me. Next up is Seasons in Chalk Fall. That was the drawing, and this is the stitch chart. This was in Just Cross Stitch magazine. I did the spring, had the little bunny on there. So the next one I had was fall. The problem mainly for this piece, I started this on 32 count chalkboard. And this stuff, does it picture this plus? 32 count chalkboard black linen fabric. But it is so stiff, like just stitching that much was a pain. Because I was probably, I was stitching 2/2. I really like the chart. So this is probably going to be an official restart, because I now have 36 count Weeks Dye Works gunmetal that I know I enjoy stitching on it. I stitched my Prairie Schooler Happy Christmas on it, so I know I'm good with this fabric. And so I will restart this because I do like this chart. But that fabric, whew, I mean, it is like sandpaper. So right now it's a UFO, but I already have a backup to restart it if I decide to do that. Oops, don't want to lose the floss. Next up, we have Carolyn Manning Designs. Granny is No Square 2. And I was doing this in the Daybreak colorway. And oh, I've already got rid of the flosses. This was how far I had gotten. It's on a looks like a 32 count white. That's how far I gotten. That is screaming 70s at me, and I just don't like that avocado green and like a, I don't know, pinky light orange. I just don't like it at all. So I know there's a couple other colorways, and I've seen some people do it in the different colorways, and I really liked it. That's how I even came across the chart. So maybe one day I'll get a different colorway on it. But until then, it's going away. The last UFO is Prairie Schoolers Santas and Snowmen. I have stitched one of these, I've stitched this one. I have it finished into an ornament. An ornament. But I think I showed you this last year. I have these little stitches right here. Have no clue which chart they go to. So, since it didn't call to me to even mess with this, and plus this is on another even weave, I'm not going to do that. I like these stitched on tin roof or Confederate gray. I love the charts. I definitely want to stitch these, and they would definitely fall into my smalls that I want to focus on for 2022. So this will probably be coming back out, but for right now, sayonara, it's gone. Okay, so that brings us to my official WIPs that I'm taking in to 2022. I'm not going to go into a lot of details on these. I will show you the chart. Prairie Schooler, Christmas Village. This is my oldest WIP. I started it sometime in 2018. I just had 2018 as my start date. And here we are. So yeah, this is my oldest WIP. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, it's gonna be a lot closer to a finish than it is today, by golly. I don't know why. I just do it. Just do it and get it over with, Jerry Beth. Okay, next. These are all 2018. I have 4 of them from 2018. The next one, Halloween Quaker. And I think it was just 2018. I'm not sure when in 2018 I started it. But here is where I'm at. I am stitching it on murky, 36 count murky. And there's where we are. I'm enjoying it, so right now it shouldn't be a problem to keep stitching on it. It is on my WIP Go board. If you watched my Flosstube that is trying to be posted right now, when I started uploading it, it told me it was going to take 2 hours and 44 minutes to upload. Next up is Northwoods by Ink Circles. It's a really cool chart. And I thought I would just fly right through this because I love the chart. It's only 2 colors, but it's taken me forever. This is on 40 count, which I think was pretty ambitious for me to start back in 2018 when I was first getting into back into cross stitching. But I did make some progress on it this year. So on the 40 count, it's a little more difficult to do the sewing method when I'm stitching in hand. I stitch in hand, so it's just a little more difficult to do the sewing method. So a lot of times it's the poke and stab, which takes a little bit longer. In my last 2018 WIP is this big one, Autumn at Hawkrun Hollow. I think we've all seen enough Hawkrun Hollows to know this is one huge project. But I did finish the square, and I've moved over to this one. I actually did the 2 leaves, the top of those 2 leaves, half of the leaves in each of the corners last week. So it's considered a small. One block is, I think, 90 by 90. So I could focus on it. Plus, it is on my WIP Go board. So I should get 10,000 stitches in this over the coming year. At least 10,000. So I thought I felt that. My needle poking out. But 10,000 stitches on this blog really, or this, project really isn't a whole lot. Okay, so this moves us into 2019. that brings us to Miss Baxter's House by Stacy Nash. I love this piece. I love the roosters and the chicken. And I did the pink flowers in the border. I'm changing to red. I love that I did that because I feel it looks a lot better. Here. Whoop, whoop. Oh, crap. My project bag contents fell out. Just trying to hold something up behind this so the light doesn't shine through and you can see it. Here you go. So that's where I'm at. I got one chicken in there. It's so pretty. It's just another one. It's just, it doesn't call to you. And so it's like, oh, plus it's, you know, just a lot of stitching on that house. That's why I changed it. The last time I stitched on it to get my last 1,000 stitches on this project, I worked a little bit more on the border to get my stitches in because I was kind of over stitching on that house. Next up is Brenda Gervais, Forever and Ever. And I think this was my first start when I did my early Stitch Mania in April of 2019. So I still have several of those I have to get knocked out. Oops. So yeah, I actually, you know, pretty much enjoy working on this. It's just I have all these other options that, you know, call for my attention as well. Then we have another chart. It's called Forever and Ever, and this is by Cottage Garden Samplings. And this is the Songbirds Garden Series #1. I love, love, love the cardinals. And so, oh, I haven't done much on this. That's all we got. So, yeah. The thing is, they have pretty good blocks of color, so once I like really want to focus on it, and it is actually, as I'm knocking out my older whips, it's climbing the ladder to get focused on, so that's good. Next up is Plum Street Samplers Harvest Keeper. I love that. I love the colors. I love her dress. I love the bee skeps. Those are gorgeous. And it's going to be fun once I get down to those to stitch on them, because that is all I have. And I actually may just go ahead and restart this. I'm not going to UFO it. I'll probably just restart it because I literally have like a 1/2 inch on that side. So I can and plus this is a 32 count. I can get it on a 36 count. I think it'll knock it out a lot faster. That's probably what I'll do. Next up, I think this is Brenda Gervais. Yeah, it's under Country Stitches. Brenda Gervais, Country Stitches. The Pink Sparrow Sampler. I love those colors. I just think that is gorgeous. I'm not a big sampler person, but I really like this. Really like it. The problem is I have not touched it since I started it in April of 2019. I've not touched it. So that's all I have gotten done. And that is probably actually the side. It probably goes like that. So yeah, not much to see on that one. But I love that chart, so. Next up, I love this one too. It's moving up on the to focus on chart. It's Birds of a Feather, Tall Rooster. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. Love it. Yeah, I'm just using 310 as my black. Ooh, that is so pretty. I'm stitching it on a 30 count Weeks Dye Works chickpea. The funny thing is, it's 30 count. Yeah, and I'm stitching this 2/2. Oh, here we go. I'm stitching it 2/2 on 30 count, and it's not that bad. I haven't, you know, thrown a fit over having to stitch 2/2, but I really wanted it to have good coverage, so I've been happy to stitch it 2/2. I wanted it to be nice and bold. I just love that fabric color. It's so pretty. Chickpea by Weeks Dye Works. I know I did work on it a little bit this year. That's what I liked about on my WIP Go board. I had 5 spaces of WIP of choice, so I can work on one of these, even though it's not specifically on my WIP Go board. I can whatever I'm in the mood to do. Next up is Plum Street Samplers Babushka's Blossoms. I love that chart. That huge pumpkin is just great. And I love those flowers on either side. Just a beautiful chart. Yeah, I've not stitched any on this one. So, yeah, that's still all that I have. Yeah, it's 36 count, so it's moving up just like the rest of them. Next up I have RETM, Harvest Time. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love those pumpkins, so pretty. This is 32 count cinnamon roll from Silk Weaver that I'm stitching this on. I think it goes this way. So yeah, 32 count cinnamon roll from Silk Weaver. I just love that color, so pretty. And the floss that I'm using is the orange. It calls for fallen leaves for the orange, but I am using Color and Cotton Reindeer Treats. It variegates the orange and brown. So pretty. I think that is going to look so good in those pumpkins. And the green I am using is Pine Needles from Color and Cotton as well. So that will be my green on the top. I love that. I'm really anxious to get started back on that one. It's nice because some of these I haven't seen since my last WIP Parade. So kind of gets exciting again to pull them all out. Next, I've got the Prairie Schooler Autumn Samplers. And I'm working on this one. This little squirrel. Misty Purcell finished this. And this is actually a poem, and she looked at the poem and then stitched more of the poem instead of all of these leaves, and wow, it looks awesome. Really, really love how she did that. And I've not touched it since, yeah, I've not touched it since I started it. I'm stitching it on, was it 36 count? Yes, 36 count Vintage Country Mocha. That's actually the bottom. So I started at the bottom. So yeah, no progress since I started it back in 2019. Whew. Okay, then we have I did work on this one a little bit. I love this chart. Plum Street Samplers, Cinnamon Stars. Lots of people have stitched this. So I did start it back in 2019. And I did work on it a little bit this year. So pretty, so pretty. So yeah, I know initially, I think at 2021, I had some of this fence. So I've stitched all of this. And I think the stars up here I stitched. So pretty. I don't remember what it was that got me back in the mood to stitch on this, but it seems like somebody else was stitching on it, or I think maybe I finished a project and was like, okay, what do I want to work on? And then you flip through your WIPs and it's like, oh yeah. Oh shoot. Huh, I just put that in the wrong bag, I think. Yes. That's why you gotta put stuff back as you go when you do these WIP parades. Oh my gosh. So next up I have by Bygone Stitches, it's Quaker Seasons in the Autumn. Because they do have summer, winter, I think they have a spring. Love this. And I'm pretty sure I haven't stitched on this at all. And I'm using burnt orange. I love it. But this is the upper left-hand corner of the chart that I started on. So I'm using that burnt orange. It's going to be so pretty. And that is a 36 count. It looks like Harvest Moon from Luminous Fiber Arts. I think that's what it's called. 40 count Harvest Moon. Next up is another Prairie Schooler. Oh, gotta adjust my legs here. Oh, okay. The Prairie Schooler Village Green. And I love all of these. but I think I've explained, like, I'm going to stitch this one, but I'm only going to stitch the roosters. I am not going to stitch like 24. Yeah, 24 little chickens. Yeah, that's totally not happening. But I love those roosters. I started this one though, here in the middle. But I do want to stitch all of those. I am stitching them on, I believe it's color and cotton. Yes, 36 count color and cotton. It was a limited edition. I think I got their fabric monthly. Or no, I think this came in, they did a box, like a Christmas box or something one year. Yeah, Cozy Christmas Collection. It's a 36 count. And so, in anticipation of stitching all three of those, I went ahead and I already have my pieces. I already have my pieces cut for all of them. And so my middle start, and I think I explained on my last WIP Parade, because I haven't stitched on it at all, this thread color is pretty much the exact same color as the fabric, so that I'm probably just going to restart this. Probably maybe change up some of the colors. I don't know. I like the fabric for it, but this really isn't that great. But we'll see once it gets back up in a regular rotation. Next up, look at this now, and I'm wondering, I would have thought I would have made this a UFO, but apparently I didn't. But it may be Dimensions Antique Shops, a Charles Wysocki, based on a Charles Wysocki picture. I love the scene. Oh yeah, totally going to be a restart if I stitch on it again, because this is on. It's not even an Aida. It's like really thick. Like the holes on it are very small, and so I'm using the kit floss. It's like really thick, and this fabric is like really stiff. So yeah, this will definitely be restarted. And honestly, I'm probably just going to go ahead and move it. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty nice blocks of color, so I just need to, I'm not going to make it a UFO. I'm going to keep it as a WIP and change out the fabric, because there's not a lot of stitching on that. So I'll just end up changing out the fabric once I get it into another regular rotation. Change it to a 36 count. That's my fave. Next up is, oh, this one's so pretty. This came out of a Just Cross Stitch February 2019 Watercolor Garden. Oh, so pretty. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. I'm stitching it on, looks like an even weave for sure. 25 count even weave. So I'm sure, yeah, I'm stitching it 2/2. Here's my progress. I've not stitched on it this year, so, and I do know there's a mess up in here, but with all that confetti, ain't no way I'm going to try to figure out where the screw up is. So I think I concocted a plan to go up here so far, and then just, you know, where I know it's going to be right, and then just fill it in correctly, which is no big deal. It's confetti pretty confetti heavy down there, so. But I love those colors. I'm definitely going to stitch on that. And the thing is, you know, it's pretty confetti heavy and it's pretty much a full coverage, but I just love the colors, and I think that makes a big difference for me as far as, and I think that's probably the only really full coverage that I have. Next we have well, I don't see my cover page. Oh, here it is. Cricket Collection, A Walk in the Woods. I love that chart. So cool with all the little insects and stuff. This is a 36 count Legacy. It goes this way. I don't think I've touched it since the day I started it. So yeah, I like that. I like that fabric it's on as well. Next we have, this one was kind of screwy. I have it down as When Witches Go Riding, but I restarted that chart on, well, was going to restart that chart. I pulled out all the charts that I wanted to make by Prairie Schooler, like all the like Halloween themed, Witching Hour, there's When Witches Go Riding, Trick or Treat, and one of them I had finished, but I want to stitch all these on the same size fabric. Yeah, I've got all kinds of them in here. So When Witches Go Riding, I didn't, when I picked up the series to stitch again, I didn't restart the When Witches Go Riding. I started a different chart with that group, and then finished the one, I don't remember what it was called, and then started this one. It's not When Witches Go Riding. This is Trick or Treat. And so I don't have When Witches Go Riding, because I haven't officially like restarted stitching it. But in 2021, my WIPs is Trick or Treat, and so that's what that is. But it's all like kind of all together. I'm kind of stitching it as a series, so. And I'm enjoying stitching on those. Like, I can't remember what that other one was, but I was able to stitch it fairly quickly. Next up is Lizzie Kate's Christmas Rules. And I'm using the called for flosses. This is stitched on a 36 count. Oh, Heartland. And there's where we are. And I've stitched on it quite a bit the last month, so these stitched up really fast. So I'm enjoying that, little quick stitches. I really like that. Next, we have a restart. It is Sarah Guarmani, Waiting for Christmas. I have bought this as a kit off of Etsy. It came with the fabric, Came with a 28 count, I think it was a 28 count fabric. That was stiff. I wasn't crazy about it. I had made that much progress on it. That was the bottom left-hand corner of the chart. I am going to, I think there's maybe a little bit something on top of this. I want to finish stitching this tree and then just cut this out and make it into a little pillow or flat fold or something. I'm not enjoying the fabric at all. So I felt like that wasn't, I could still salvage that. So I've restarted it on a 36 count parchment. There's my progress. It calls for B5200 as the white, but I like to use 3865, DMC 3865 for my snow. So that's what I'm using. It's, you know, not super bright, and I'm okay with that. I just love the, you know, the duller colors. It's not like a bright reds and greens and everything. I just think that is so pretty. There still needs to be snow added up here. I think there's maybe 10 or 12 more rows that goes above that, but I wanted to get down here and stitch some of the fun stuff. So yeah, I love that chart. It's a really big chart, but it's not full coverage. You have these little, you know, areas, houses and churches, and I think it keeps it fun rather than solid stitching. So what was that? There was a white floss or thread. I don't know where it came from. Oh, then we have, I've been working on this quite a bit in December. I had like about 4 Christmas winter theme charts that I focused on in the month of December. This one's Heartstring Sampleries Hibernation Day. I started this when we started our trip up to New York City, December 14th of 2019. This is a 36 count legacy that this is being stitched on. In the last couple weeks, the row of snowflakes and all of this down here I have stitched. Next, I have, this was my anniversary start, December 21st of 2019 while we were in I think we were actually driving back home that day. So I stitched on this on our way back home driving. A Sweeter Love by Plum Street Samplers. And as I stated earlier, I'm not a big sampler person. So I know in my last WIP Parade, I really wasn't crazy about this chart. Definitely not crazy about this border. Oh. It says, if I climbed the highest mountain or crossed all land and sea, I could never find a sweeter love than thou hast given me. And I just love that sentiment. So I think that will like push me through to stitch this. Maybe I just won't stitch the border. I don't know. Because I think the other issue I had was I really wasn't crazy about, because I changed it to DMC because I think it calls for silks. Yeah, it's charted in NPI silk, which I don't stitch with. I've never stitched with it, and I've heard when you start stitching with it, you're gonna love it, and it's a lot more expensive. Well, that's exactly what I don't need. So, But that's the floss. It's really pretty like this, but I don't know, the combinations of it going together I wasn't really crazy about, but I don't know. Maybe I'll pull it back out. And honestly, I think it's more this green. I'm not crazy about the green at all. It's like a bluish green, and I'm just not crazy about bluish green. Like Prairie Schooler, the Santa, the green I think is 501, and it's like a blue green, and I don't like it. That's why I had to change my greens in my Prairie Schooler Santas. But I'm not crazy about this green at all. And that, I've stitched on that enough, like I'm not going to rip that out. So I think I just need to, get it back out eventually and stitch on it a little bit more to see if, our tastes change. And so I may get it back out and be like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. Just like some of these other ones I looked at and like, no, I'm not working on those any longer. Okay, so the last one in 2019, this was my Christmas start in 2019. This is again it was on my 2021 WIP Go board, and it is on my 2022 WIP Go board, Quaker Christmas 2. I love this piece. I am stitching it on 36 count fog. I am using Buckeye Scarlet as my red, and English Ivy by Classic Colorworks as my green. These are brighter than I would normally like to stitch for Christmas colors, but I think it's okay for this piece because, ooh-wee, it's going to be a big project. But look at this. It's so pretty. I love how it's turning out. I'm really happy with it. The red's not highly variegated, which is I'm okay with. And I am not, when I first started stitching with fancy floss, I was really careful about completing my X's one stitch at a time rather than doing it row by row, because I really liked the look. But now that I've stitched more, I really the floss still variegates. It still gets its dark places of the red and the lighter. You still get the variegation of the floss. So I'm happy with that because I like the look of the variegation. But I have since learned, because you can, of course, stitch a lot faster doing row by row. So that's what I do. And I think I still get enough variegation, and I'm happy with that. Okay. I told myself to bring me a drink in here. That's okay. A little over halfway through. Moving into 2020. These are my 2020 starts. One Nation by Bygone Stitches. Beautiful chart. Beautiful chart. And I've seen the finishes on it, and it's gorgeous. But I didn't stitch on this any at all this year. This is a 36 count Heartland or Legacy. So I think that is all the way over. So I at least got the width on there. And I've started stitching Delaware. Yeah. Because I'm kind of doubting, like, is that bright enough? But it seems like I did change that already. Yeah, I'm using 3865, which I'm usually happy with. So, yeah. But that was quite a bit of accomplishments for not have stitched on it this year. But the red I'm using is, I just love reds. Cupid by Classic Colorworks. Oh, look at that. That is gorgeous. Gorgeous. The variegation in that, so pretty. And the blue I'm using is Midnight by Classic Color. No, Gentle Arts Midnight. Love that blue. That's gorgeous. Next up for 2020 is a Sal. I started, I think it was either just, it was Jennifer Ketterman with Bluegrass Stitchers, Spunky Jen. Her Flosstube is Bluegrass Stitching, or Bluegrass Stitcher. Shoot. Sorry, Jen. But anyway, she started it, and I know there were several other in our group, probably more than what's in the group, and they just posted something. We should, get this reignited as our stitch along. So, In a Forest Grew by Rosewood Manor, and this one is not Valdani threads. This one is DMC, like a bunch of DMC. I think it was like 102. That's a lot, but that's a beautiful chart. I am stitching mine on a 36 count. Look, 3 floss rings of DMC, and I think there's maybe a half a dozen or so that I don't have. Oh, isn't that pretty? So pretty. Oh, there it is. 36 count Heartland is what I went with. It's more brown, so it looks, kind of like dirt, right? So here we go. That's all the progress I've made. That's pretty much where everyone has started. Of course, most of them made more progress than I did. But yeah, that's so pretty. And it is on one big old piece of fabric. So it's pretty. Next up, we have, I really like this one too. I don't think I stitched on this year. The Blue Flower quilting bee. And it's just like, that's part of the frame. That's not stitched. Just inside here is stitched. I think this is 36 count. It's a color and cotton, I believe. Coconut or something. Yeah, toasted coconut. That's pretty impressive. That's where I've gotten so far. I think it's a pretty cool chart. Next I have, this is a, I think it's Dimensions. Yes, Dimensions Mason Jar Lineup. Just think that is gorgeous. So pretty. I got mine off of eBay. I am stitching this on a looks like a 32 count. Yeah, it uses blends, so you got to stitch it with 2 strands of floss, so it's a 32 count white. That's all the part. I did, quite a bit of stitching when I started it. I really love it. It's so pretty. And the petals of the flowers are outlined. I wanted to do, not all of them, I wanted to do the outline just to see how well it was going to pop, and wow, that outline stitching. And I really don't mind doing outline stitching. It's a little harder to keep track of because it's hard to like highlight what you've stitched. So that's the only thing, but I mean, it's amazing the difference it makes when you're stitching it. It looks, wow, after the back stitching is added. Okay. We're getting there, we're getting there. Then we have Cricut Collection, Rest and Be Thankful. I think Misty Purcell stitched this one, and I really love it. I just love that old house. This is being stitched on a 30 count straw. It's pretty dark. I gotta get right set up. Oh, this is right. There's my progress. I love this fabric. Yep, 30 count straw. Yeah, I just love that chart. The thing is, it uses a lot of floss, a lot of different flosses. Yeah, like 30 to 40. And for some reason, it doesn't have a project bag. It did have a project bag. Obviously, I needed one for another project worse. Now we have... Oh, I don't have the cover page. I seen it in my studio the other day. This is Enchanted Ornaments stocking. Amy with Amy Loves Toads. She and someone else is stitching this. And she's made it a lot further. She's got the band up here. And I think she's got hers all the way across to the other side. But I love those colors. It's another one that's kind of confetti. So you really got to concentrate when you're stitching on it. And, some days, okay, I can do that. But, 75% of my days, not crazy about it. Having to concentrate on one. I love the chart of it'll get there eventually. Next up is Plum Street Samplers, Sweetheart Hill. And I had started this in honor of our anniversary last year. And that's my progress. I've actually been stitching on it the last couple of weeks. I got the man stitched, the heart and stem stitched, and the lady stitched. I did change their heads a little bit. One of them had like a flat little hat on their head. I just made, my husband has darker hair, so that's just his hair, and I changed the lady's hair to blonde. So yeah, really cute. Oh, had to sneeze, held it back. Whew. Because I'm trying not to edit this. I'm used to iMovie on my iPad. I'm not used to iMovie on a MacBook, and that's I've gotten one a couple months ago. Whew, there's a big learning curve, so I'm trying not to edit anything on this WIP Parade, because I had to edit just like a minute and a half on my regular Flosstube video that I just did. Oh my gosh, I've spent 2 hours, because once you record it, then you have to like upload it into iMovie, which takes 20-30 minutes, edit it, so I had to figure out how to edit it. Then you have to export it out of my iMovie to iCloud or whatever. That takes 30-45 minutes. Then you have to upload it to YouTube. And when this started uploading, like I said, 2 hours and 45 minutes is what it told me. It's 40% uploaded. Oh, here we go. Next up is Blackbird Designs. Oh, I don't have my cover book or my actual chart or project thing with me. This here, what was it called? Early Christmas Morning, Blackbird Designs. Can't remember if this was like a special for something. I can't remember. But yeah, sorry, just black and white printout here. I'm stitching it on 36 count winter brew. And I really enjoyed stitching on this. There we go. Love the colors. We all know Blackbird Designs with their colors is amazing. Amazing. So I didn't get as much progress on there than I thought I did, but I know I did enjoy stitching on that. I think it was a matter of oh yeah, I started this Christmas Day of 2020, so I haven't stitched on it since then. Okay, that was the last one for 2020. So here are my 2021 starts that are being carried over as my whips. Oh heck, this is in a book. This is Summer Jubilee from Blackbird Designs. I don't even think I have a picture of it. Black and white, no. Just imagine with me. Lots of people are stitching it. But I love these colors. Love the colors. So pretty. I am stitching this on 18th century Blackbird. 18th century Blackbird. And absolutely love stitching on this fabric. It is, I mean, your stitches are just perfection. Fold that, it's a little better. But yeah, I really enjoyed stitching on this. So pretty. Then we have Cricut collection, red, white, and blue. Most of you hopefully know my husband is an Indiana State Trooper. We are very proud of that. We are law enforcement and military family and very proud of that. No greater love has man than that he give his life for his brother. I absolutely love that. I have several his photos and you know, his accomplishments and stuff on a wall, hanging on a wall, and so I want to add that to it. This is being stitched on a color and cotton, yes, 28 count River Rock. It's got a red and blue colorway to the fabric, but look at that red stitching, gorgeous. So pretty. I think that's going to look really good on that fabric. And I did mention on my Flosstube 44, not the one I just recorded, that you know, keep my husband in your prayers of, you know, being law enforcement in this day and age. And so many of you commented of your support and prayers for him and all of his fellow law enforcement. And I truly, truly heartfelt thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Just not a whole, well, I think there's a whole lot of it going around. It just doesn't get spread as much as the negativity. So I appreciate the support and your prayers for them each day. Next up, Stars and Stripes by Bent Creek. Stars and Stripes Forever by Bent Creek. I'm stitching mine on I think it's a 36 count. No, it's a 28 count sampler gold. And wow, 2/2. I think just because I want it to be a nice big sign. So I did switch up the colors. I got some Victorian mottos as my red and blues. Hopefully that'll be enough. I think that's why I chose them, to have enough to actually, you know, finish that. Chewy, big old pile of project bags beside me. I'm afraid it's gonna tumble here. Next up is Little House Needleworks America. It's a nice little chart as a small. Stitching this on, I think it's Snow Day by Luminous Fiber Arts. Yep, 32 count Snow Day. Yeah, this is 32 count and I'm stitching it 1/2. Almost there. Just a handful left. Next up is Hands-On Design Memorial Day. Love this. I was just watching Georgia Girl Stitcher. Yeah, Georgia Girl Stitcher. She's stitching this, and I think she said she was using the sulky. I just loved her fabric and the floss that she was using. I really liked it more than what I'm using. for the color combinations, because I'm using, yeah, 36 count Whisper Luminous Fiber Arts. She was just using like a, I don't know, I don't remember what it was. Like, it was a darker color, it seemed like. But I was like, oh man, that's so pretty. But this looks good. I just love that font. I think that is so pretty. Next up, I have, it's kind of a couple projects in one, and you know what, I don't have the actual charts, but I know you'll know what I'm talking about when I show these to you. Basically little ornaments. This is Little House Needleworks. Oh, heck. Little House Needlework. Oh my goodness. I can't think of it because I'm trying to think of it. Oh, heck. We've all seen them, or like everybody has stitched these. I'm stitching them as individual ornaments. These I had already finished. These 3 are done. But I'm just going to stitch them all and then finish them all as the ornaments. But I've already got all my squares stitched because I have these and the Prairie Schooler Barnyard Christmas. They're all in the same project bag. So that's the Rooster of the Barnyard Christmas. That's as far as I've gotten on him. So these will definitely be a focus for 2022. These are the kinds of things, because I've had these for a while. I've said I wanted to stitch them to get on my tree, and it's like, well, you got to do it. So this whole packet here will be a big focus for 2022. Next is, this was my birthday start for this year. Cottage Garden Samplery Dream, or Autumn Dream. Love, 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 love. Love this chart. Love the colors. I mean, it is just gorgeous. I love it. Floss is a mess, but so pretty, so pretty. I am stitching this on 36 count Egyptian sand, and I think the fabric dryer was Mountain Mist, I think. But here's where I've gotten so far. I absolutely love this fabric and this floss combination. It is gorgeous. I am so thrilled with it. I had to make myself stop stitching on this so that I could move into my Christmas and winter stitches that I wanted to get to. But I absolutely love this. And I can't wait to get back to it. So pretty. Good thing I'm almost done. I am my mouth's dry. It's probably about 7 o'clock, 7:30. So I'm hungry. Got 3 more to go. Next is, and if you watch my last Flosstube, I explained what my motivation was for, even though it is just a beautiful chart on its own. I found a picture frame and what I'm wanting to do with it and what I want it to look like. But this is Oh Christmas Tree by All Through the Night. Love this piece. I found a frame that I wanted to stitch or to fit something in. And I'm stitching this on 32 count. A 32 count white is all I can tell you. And I'm using Louisiana Hot Sauce as my red. So that's as far as I got. And it should fit perfectly into this frame that I found. But I love that red. It's so pretty. And it's stitching up really quick for it to be, you know, so, you know, here and there as far as stitching the little things. I think it's so pretty. I'm so excited to get that one done. But it's low on the totem pole now. Okay, 2 more. These are the two that I found when I was getting all my WIPs in order. I was like, well, that's not on the list anywhere. It's definitely a current WIP. This is, oh, I know I don't have a printout of this. I don't even have a black and white printout. Well, I think a lot of us know what this looks like. Lady of the Flag by Mirabilia. I am stitching it on 32 count. I think it's called Constitution fabric from Primitive Hair. I don't even have my project card in here for it. It may actually be a 30 count, but it's got the Constitution printed on there. So huge project. I started in the middle. In order to get it situated correctly on the fabric, you kind of got to start in the middle. So that's all I've got started. The thing is, I didn't start it in 2021. I started in 2020. So I didn't even have it on my 2020. I mean, I didn't have it in my 2021 WIP Parade, I don't think, because it wasn't in my Excel journal. But that's as far as I've gotten. I've got all the beads and everything for it. Beautiful piece. But I didn't work on it this year. So I think I know I shared it on my Flosstube when I did start it. So I'll have to go back through my Flosstube to get my actual start date and get it added to my Excel sheet. The last one I have is, I started this on our trip to New Jersey this past summer. And I guess because I started it on my way up there, it didn't make it onto my Excel sheet. Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt. Love these colors. And I'm wanting to get this stitched so I can hang it in at my desk at my job. Now that I have a little desk and I can have all my little cute stuff sitting around. But, oh, I mean, I love just looking at the floss. It's so gorgeous. So pretty. But I did go a different way with my fabric. I did a 36 count tin roof. And, crosshatch quilts. Christy, Crosshatch Quilts. She did it on like a black or chalkboard color. And I thought about doing that, but I don't know. I wasn't really crazy about it. Once I put my floss on there, like the darker color, like the border, that would have to been changed up. So I went with this tin roof. I like it. It's not as bright or bold as, you know, doing it on a white fabric, but I really like it. And it's fun to stitch, you know, it's an easy stitch with the DMCs and, you know, pretty easy. Pretty easy pieces to stitch. So it was really a good project to have with me while we were traveling. That's it. Yay! I think my WIP Parade last year was 2 hours, maybe just over 2 hours. That was my goal, to get it shorter. Right now it's 1 hour and 24 minutes. Ooh-wee. So yeah, I shouldn't have any starts for the next 10 years. But, you know, I'm definitely going to have some small starts. I don't have any really big, I don't have big projects on my radar as starts. I didn't include my New Year New Start that I started today. I did show it on my regular Flosstube that I just finished recording. It was Winter Quakers. So check out my Flosstube number 45 and you can see that. So that'll be in my, there's no way if that'll be finished this coming year. So it will definitely be in my next WIP Parade next January. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some motivation and inspiration. I know I'm excited about getting back to some of these. And I think tonight, though, for New Year's Day, my husband and I think we're going to play some cards and kind of hang out. It has rained all day. We have, over 2 inches of rain so far. So it's a good night just to stay in and play some games. So that's our plans. I hope you all have a very healthy, prosperous, happy 2022. And hopefully I'll be back soon with an update on my progress of my WIP Go and some regular WIP progress. So take care and I'll hopefully see you soon.